let's just get right into it. It was like really cool, and like CGI was like really great. Uh, yeah.
Okay, so
All right. So the next movie is The Empire Strikes Back from the Star Wars trilogy saga thing. Uh, I really personally liked this movie. The characters great. Um, didn't feel rushed. A lot of new characters were introduced, but they introduced them in like a way that it just doesn't feel like they're introducing them to introduce them. Like they actually have stakes in the story. Uh, this is probably the best Star Wars movie like ever, and it'll probably be that way. Um, for the cinematography, the shots were like really average and like kind of bad among today's standards, but like in the 80s, it was still average. The pacing was amazing because it's got two subplots that um, kind of split off, but then they rejoin at the end, and it's really done great. Uh, I feel like this movie has so many pros and like not a lot of cons. So I would recommend you see this movie if you haven't seen it, which is surprising. Um, but definitely watch A New Hope before it because you have a better understanding what the characters are doing. For the ratings, I'd give the plot 9 out of 10, the characters 8 out of 10, uh, relevance 7 out of 10, cinematography 6 out of 10, pacing 10 out of 10, and overall 9.1 out of 10, which is Batman. Uh, Characters are amazing. They introduced uh, Harvey Dent and the Joker, which are like the two main antagonists of the movie, um, which is surprising because Harvey Dent was not, you wouldn't expect him to be an antagonist until like midway through the movie, which was like a nice turn. Uh, for the relevance, people say it's the best Batman movie and probably the best DC movie other than The Joker, which is also a pretty good movie. Uh, but this movie really showed that comic books and movies could be one. Uh, Cinematography is amazing. Uh, in a lot of the modern day superhero movies, it's a lot of CGI and a lot of cuts. But in this movie, you can feel like the punches being thrown, I guess. Um, there's they changed cameras too from like the standard to like a really high definition camera for theaters. Uh, the pacing is a lot slower than what you'd expect from like a Marvel movie, but it it's done well and it's uh, more for like an adult uh, movie like viewer kind of thing. Uh, Faults, I think this is probably the closest you can get uh, to perfection with a superhero movie because uh, like in the Marvel movies, they all kind of feel the same up until Infinity War and Endgame. This one really did not feel like any other movie released by DC. So it was uh, really different and really interesting. Uh, I would recommend this movie. Like, you don't have to watch the first one. You just really need to know that Bruce Wayne is Batman and uh, he wants to protect the city, and Alfred is his butler, and Lucius gives him cool stuff. The plot, I would give it 9, characters 8, relevance 8, cinematography 10, pacing 10, overall 9.6. All right, so the last movie that we're going to review is Moana. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was decent, but looking back on it, it was not amazing. Uh, so the characters, you have your main character Moana, uh, secondary main character which is Maui, uh, main antagonist Taka, um, comic relief, standard stuff you'd see in a Disney film. Relevance, I mean, it's a Disney film, so they're going to uh, cash as much money out of it as they can, so they're still selling merchandise. Um, cinematography, it's animated, but you can not see it's like taken seriously, I guess. It's not like Into the Spider Verse where there's different frame rates for different people. There's not. It's just simple. Pacing is kind of scattered. It kind of feels like there's forced conflict. Um, Faults, once again, pacing. Um, Recommendations. If you're looking for a movie to watch, there are better Disney movies, but it's not the worst choice. For ratings, I'd give it 7 out of 10 for plot, characters 6 out of 10, relevance 9 out of 10, cinematography 8 out of 10, pacing 5 out of 10, overall 7.8 out of 10. Thank you for your thank you for your time. These were sure some good movies.